Hello, all. Welcome to my channel Tech Research and another episode of Research Talk Show. Today, we have a renowned professor, KP Rajappan Nair, an internationally known scientist in molecular physics. His areas of research were in microwave spectroscopy, laser spectroscopy, and molecular structure and interaction. He obtained his PhD degree from Banaras Hindu University and DSc from Dibrugarh University. He is a recipient of famous Alexander von Humboldt Foundation Fellowship in Germany and was also sectional president of Physical Science section of Indian Science Congress Association. He has taught and researched in many universities around the world. To name few, these include Freiburg University, Free University Berlin, Lund University, Hanover University, Germany, University of Texas in USA, University of Lille in France, Banaras Hindu University, and Cochin University of Science and Technology, and Manipal University in India. Professor Rajappan Nair served as a professor, head of the department, dean, syndicate member at Cochin University of Science and Technology. He has guided a dozen of PhD students and equal number of MPhil students. I really welcome you, sir, and thank you for your valuable time to this show.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you very much for inviting me for this session.
Let's start our Q&A session and understand how was your overall journey, and let's see what are your life experiences and how these experiences inspire many researchers in world. So my first question to begin with, can you please explain to us what are you doing now? I mean your research activities at present.
Yeah, Monica, at present my research activities are at the University of Hanover. The university is Leibniz University in Hanover. My area of research is molecular physics, and to be specific, it is microwave spectroscopy and laser spectroscopy. As you know, Germany is a very good place to do research, especially in physical sciences. There are a lot of Nobel laureates from Germany, almost more than 80 scientists got Nobel laureates from Germany, among the 109 Nobel laureates from that country. And in Hanover University, we have a very good microwave spectrometer. You know that you cannot buy microwave spectrometer as such from market, just like the infrared spectrometer or other spectrometers. You have to build your own spectrometer. And Professor Grabo at the Leibniz University, he is an expert in this field, and he has built a very good spectrometer. And I work with that spectrometer there. And for the last more than 1 decade, I go there I stay there for 3 or 4 months and do my experimental work and do the calculations later. And this is a very important area of research because it has got applications from bioscience to astrophysics. And since it's a vast major area of research, we have collaborations with scientists from many countries, from USA, from Australia, from Spain, from France, from India, and many other countries. I am also an adjunct professor at the Manipal University, Manipal Academy of Higher Education in Manipal. Whenever I am in India, I go there and give some lectures. So these are my present activities in my area of research.
That's amazing to know all of this, sir. That's like wonderful work from covering the entire globe and many countries. Can you describe a little more about the importance of research in this area, in this field?
Actually, my area of research, I said, it is, to be specific, it is on fundamental science or basic sciences. And you know that basic science, researchers in basic science have got very importance in the development of science and technology, the present day science and technology. If you look into any electronic equipments, you can see at the heart of any electronic, you can see quantum physics.
Mhm.
And it is a fundamental science which was developed early in the last century or 20th century. The quantum physics was developed at 1900 through Max Planck, and later developed by Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr and Heisenberg and Schrodinger. So this is a fundamental. If you look your smartphone or the laptop or we used in Zoom meeting, or MRI, which you use in medical purposes, and even the microwave oven which you use in the kitchen, they are all effect of quantum physics and quantum energies. And even the photosynthesis, from where we get the oxygen from the plants, there is also quantum energy transfer. And you can also see that nowadays the oximeter is in the news due to the COVID-19 spread in all countries. And the oximeter itself is a result of the researchers in fundamental science, I mean molecular energy transfer. So in the oximeter, if I specifically say that we study the absorption spectra of oxygenated and deoxygenated hemoglobin. Oxygen as such doesn't have a vibrational spectrum. So the spectra due to oxygenated and deoxygenated hemoglobin are studied, and its intensities are measured, and then it is converted into many calculations to determine the oxygen content in the bloodstream. And another important area of research in fundamental science, which has got wide applications, is in Raman spectroscopy. Sir C.V. Raman is a great scientist of our country. You know, there are, if you consider two people, quantum physicists from our country, one is S.N. Bose.
Yeah.
He has invented the bosons, and every student knows about boson. And C.V. Raman in 1928 invented an effect called Raman effect. And the Raman effect is widely used nowadays in all laboratories. There is no physical or chemical or biological science lab in the world which does not contain the Raman spectrometer. You see, there are two Raman spectrometers in the Perseverance which landed in Mars recently, and these spectrometers are used to study the atmosphere of this red planet. So these are very important developments which has occurred due to researchers in fundamental science. Now you come to the another example is now laser is applied anywhere, even in almost all laboratories, and it is due to the researchers in fundamental science or molecular energy levels of ammonia molecule, which led to the development of laser. The first, it was a maser, microwave amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. So this laser action was first observed in microwave region, in which region I am working and which area I am working nowadays. And later, the scientists thought that this can be applied in the other regions of the electromagnetic spectrum. That is how we came across the light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Now it is applied everywhere, even for eye surgery, operations, and in all fields of technology. So these are developments in fundamental science. So I will advise the students that fundamental science is an important area of research. One should carry on research in these fields of fundamental science. Otherwise, there will not be any developments in modern technology which we see nowadays in the world. So that is my advice to the students and my field of research, the importance of the field of research.
Wonderful, sir. You have like a strong research background with variety of experience. So definitely we would like to hear which is your most challenging situation when you started research and how you handled it.
Yeah, Monica, I started my research work, as you said in the beginning on the introduction at the Banaras Hindu University. I was born in the southernmost part of India, you know, the state Kerala. So when we were in the childhood, or when we were after the school education and the basic education in Kerala, the opportunities in Kerala were very limited for higher studies. So we had only one university in Kerala at that time. But of course, now things have changed. We have almost 15 universities in the state of Kerala. So at that time, we had to go in search of a position for higher studies to the north. So I landed at Benares Hindu University. Benares Hindu University is an internationally famous university at that time and also at the present time. And people from all parts of India and also from other parts of the world used to come to Benares for higher studies. Of course, it was challenging, means it was a long journey from Kerala to Varanasi. So it took almost 3 or 4 days by train to reach there. You can imagine in our childhood or in our time, there were no reserved compartments in the trains. We had to travel 3 or 4 days, day and night in unreserved compartments. And you can imagine how difficult it was to go to a place. Now the things have changed, as you know. At that time, even now, Benares Hindu University is a central university. So during our time, there were only 2 central universities in India. One was the Benares Hindu University, other was the Aligarh Muslim University. So people, as I said, people used to come to these universities from all over the world to have higher studies. And in Benares, there were good chances for me for doing research. Even though it was, there were only 2 central universities at that time in India. Now the things have changed. We have almost 54 central universities in the country, almost 23 IITs in our country, and also 7 ISER and almost 411 state universities and more than 100 private universities or deemed universities. Now the research and study possibilities are very good there. So in our studies, doing research was also a challenge. Of course, at the present time is also a challenge. At that time, in our time, there were no computers, no internets. We had to use an old mechanical facet machine to do our calculations. So to do a particular calculations, it might have taken days or months together to get a result. And also we didn't have any internet. Now the students are in a better position that they have the internets. You can, in order to look for the references, you can go to the Google or Wikipedia or many databases, data banks are available now. So things are easier now. At that time, we had to make use of the chemical abstracts, physical abstracts, biological abstracts, or medical abstracts. In order to refer all these things, we had to go to the central library and then do it. And the financial side, it was not very bad at that time. We had 2 financial agencies, or the main agencies were University Grants Commission and the CSIR, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. And the people who started work, these organizations used to give fellowships. And the financial wise, even though the fellowship is very, very small at that time, but it was very enough to carry on our life at that time with that price range. So these were the challenges we had to face at that time. One is the lack of research facilities and also the lack of internet and what I said, the Google and all those things. Now it is changed and the students have a better students are in a better position now.
Really hard to know your journey, like with so much of limited resources. You still have to keep on doing hard and pushing yourself. So what was your turning point in your research life?
My turning point in my research life, as I recollect, it was a letter I received signed by Professor Werner Heisenberg, giving an award for a fellowship in Germany. You know Werner Heisenberg, he was the father of the quantum mechanics, along with Schrodinger. Schrodinger and Heisenberg, they are the builders of quantum mechanics. And as I said in the beginning, that quantum mechanics or quantum physics is the basis of all developments in science and technology. So when I received a letter signed by Professor Heisenberg, it was a very great turning point in my life. I got a fellowship from the famous Alexander von Humboldt Foundation of Germany to carry out research in microwave spectroscopy. It was for a research at the University of Freiburg, which is at the south of Germany. And Freiburg is a city which is in the heart of the beautiful Black Forest. You know that. Yeah. Then I had occasions to meet Heisenberg and have discussions with him. And the most happiest time in life, you can say, when I received a certificate of merit from Professor Heisenberg for doing research at the Freiburg University. And you know, Germany is a great country, and Germany, as also India. India and Germany has great cultures. They are very great, two great countries in the world. And we have a lot of collaborations with India and Germany. They have very great collaborations. There are a lot of scholars from Germany on Indian philosophy. You can see Max Muller, who had translated almost 51 volumes of Upanishads, and he has almost created academic atmosphere for Eastern philosophy in the Western academic field. And there are a lot of people who are just like Arthur Schopenhauer, and almost there are a number of German scholars who are interested in Indian philosophy, and even Schrödinger, who was a follower of Schopenhauer. He was very much involved or interested in Indian philosophy when he wrote his first equations in quantum mechanics. I would like also to mention that the contributions of Germans to our culture, and also the contribution of Indians to German culture are very great. The first dictionary of my mother tongue, I don't know, it is called Malayalam. It was written by a German missionary. He is called Dr. Hermann Gunder. He is the grandfather of the Nobel laureate Hermann Hesse. So he has written, when he spent more than 20 years in Kerala and India and different parts of southern India, and went to corner and collected the words and wrote the first scientific dictionary for the language. So I had an occasion, or we had an occasion, to recognize him or respect him by conducting a World Malayalam conference in Berlin. When I was in Berlin, it was an attempt of the German Malayalis living in Germany, and it was supported by the Berlin government and the Indian consulate there, and also the Kerala government. And it was at the time of when there was no internet or telephone facilities, you can imagine it was a great conference. It was recognized by the Berlin government, and so it was also a great achievement which I can count. Of course, this was supported by the Malayalis or the Keralites who were living in Germany. So it was a great contribution for the German Malayalis to the Indian or Indian languages, and respecting their work in respecting great scholar. If you think that I should give an advice for the students, the present day students, you can say there are a lot of opportunities nowadays for students in India and also in outside Wales. And only thing is that competition is larger than the earlier times. And the best advice I can give to the students is that they should create a communication skill. Communication skill is very important. Even though your research is great and it has got wide applications, if you cannot communicate it, it becomes very difficult. So the students should have a very good communication skill. So if you consider the almost all topmost people in many international companies, you can see almost all are studied in India. If you consider the Microsoft, Google, or MasterCard, or IBM, or Adobe, you can see they have the people from India come to the top. They all studied in India, and it is unfortunate the language competency of the students are declining nowadays because we don't give much importance to the English language. So it is my personal opinion that the students get more importance in communication, and for that one, they should learn, or they should be conversant in English language. The English language is used in all conferences and also in publication, in research publications. Even if you go outside our own state, it becomes very difficult because of the language problem. And if you come and since every state is going on in their own language, so my opinion, if somebody is hearing me from the government side, that we should go back to our 3-language formula. Each state should continue to use 3 languages, and the local language, English, and national language, Hindi. And if you use for all advertisements, all notices, all applications forms, life will be easier instead of confining to one language and one state policy. So if we have to move around in India and also move around in other parts of the world, you have to have language proficiency. Another thing which I have come across recently, I would like to mention that even though I said a lot of things or give a lot of compliments to students who are doing research, who are having a lot of publications in peer-reviewed journals with good impact factor. In searching for jobs, the students who are publishing a large number of papers are sometimes at a difficult stage. I feel that because after the PhD, students search for a job, and the best thing they search is, or the most of the people search for a job in the academic positions. In the academic position, the starting level is the assistant professor nowadays. And if I have seen recently, I have come across many cases that for the academic selection to an assistant professor, there is least consideration for the research papers. They consider for the filtering of the applicants only 5 research papers and 2 marks each for the research paper, and total one can get is only 10 marks in a 100-point scale. 10 marks. So that means only 5 papers, and they also don't count whether it is peer-reviewed journal or a journal of good impact factor. And if some good student publishes 10 or 50 or 60 research papers, it doesn't have any value in the selection process. After the filtering, with the five research paper, so research as an applicant maybe published 5 papers in some local journals or some other periodicals, but there are other research competent people who have done lot of works, 50 or 60 publication peer-reviewed journals with good impact factors. They will be at a difficult point this time. And this is only for filtering. After filtering, the research papers don't have any value at all. You know, the final selection is made by a committee appointed by the Vice Chancellor, politically appointed Vice Chancellor. So you can imagine the student who does a lot of research work don't get any benefit at all in publishing the papers. And so my advice to the students is from our Bhagavad Gita, Kam karo, falki chinta mat karo, or nishkarma karma. That is it. You don't have to think of what is going on. So what is to happen will happen. So do it without any chinta, so you can be successful in life if you work very hard. So please work hard, even though your research papers don't get much value in the selection procedures. I am sure that these students will prosper very well in the future when they do hard work and good publications. That's my advice to them.
That's really nice to know your entire journey. And the best thing what I liked is you also thrown some light how the evaluation system works. This will be definitely helpful for viewers who are watching this video, like how to move ahead, how to overcome the research challenges, and how to keep on doing. And I love the quote from Bhagavad Gita, what you have quoted with our viewers. Definitely, many of the young researchers would be inspired with this attitude, and they'll feel like, okay, hard work and commitment is the thing which makes people different, and to reach at your position what they have reached in your life and entire your research experience. That's
Yeah, yeah.
wonderful to learn and to know many new things from you.
Yeah, that's great, because my point is that the opportunities are very, very great nowadays. Only thing is that the competition is large. So
Yeah.
they should work hard. There is no limit for knowledge. So we have only, we know only very little of the great mountain of knowledge. So what we don't know is larger than what we know. So they should search their or research their knowledge, or they do research without any profit or any as I said, nishkama karma. So they should do that.
The wonderful spirit, sir. You said like there is a mountain of knowledge, and we know just a part of it. So there is much more to explore. That is the firing spirit, in which will help many of the youngsters to move ahead in their life, in their research journey, in their life journey, and experience many new things.
That is my experience, because I was very hard in working in research laboratories. That may be one of the reasons I could go around many universities and learn more and more in different places in the world. So I have worked, as I said, I have worked in Germany and also USA and also in France and India. So I know what is going on. So they should work hard. So even now I go to Hanover and make measurements on my own. And I go to the instruments and do the experimental work my own. I don't. The students, many of the students will help me in doing it, but I make measurements my own and try to publish paper in very good reviewed journals.
Yeah, yeah.
So they should work hard. The students should work hard, and they will get.
So working hard is the key mantra, we can say,
Right,
to be a
right,
success,
right,
to
right,
reach the
right,
success. Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Mm.
So after having and learning from all your experiences, I would like to have a more detailed explanation of, like, is there any invisible force or energy that is controlling us as we believed, based on physics research? Do you believe in that invisible forces?
Yeah, Monica, this is a good question to ask to a scientist. A very good question. So I am a firm believer in God since from my childhood.
Mhm.
I believe that there is some supernatural energy which controls us. Many religions may call it with different names, but they are this, one supreme. Somebody is controlling us. Otherwise, how disciplined the world is moving with so many things. The many scientists, the physical scientists, for example, Max Planck, as I said, Schrodinger and Heisenberg, they all believed in the supernatural power. And Schrodinger has said that the Eastern philosophy has influenced him in making these advancements in quantum mechanics. And Heisenberg had a Bhagavad Gita near him when he wrote the first equations on matrix mechanics. So these are people, Planck, Heisenberg, and Schopenhauer, and the Schrodinger, and all had some faith in this superpower.
Mhm.
So in my case, if I come to the conclusion of this, or some explanation for this from physical sciences, is that you know that the theory which says the origin of the universe, it is called, it is now the accepted theory is that it's all started from an explosion at one point, or maybe they call it a singularity at different points, but they all started. And then it was almost 13.79 billion years ago. there was a great explosion that is called the Big Bang. And we believe that the universe was started from that time. But if I think, or if I ask or myself or any scientist, before that Big Bang or explosion, what was there? Was there anything? So who triggered that? Who triggered that explosion? So I find the scientists, I don't have any answer. I don't know whether any scientist can answer it, but I don't see any answer. So there is somebody who has triggered it. And according to the medieval cosmological argument, there should be a cause for that effect. And I believe that cause is the not supernatural thing. So that supernatural force is controlling us from the very beginning of the origin of the universe. Now, when the universe was started, now we believe that there was complete emptiness and darkness. Then came, after the explosion, then came many kind of radiations. They say the radiations was there, no matter was there, but from the radiations, matter was created. So if you take any religious belief, you say Christianity, the Christianity says light is genesis of the world. You know, light in Christian theology and philosophy is associated with the very creation of the universe. This is what is in the Hindu philosophy also. And if you go to the Islam philosophy, it also says it also see God is the light of the heavens and the earth. So every religion spoke of light at that time. Light is genesis of the origin of the universe. So what physics also, what the the physics also says that there was light at the beginning of the universe. But you should imagine that in the King James Bible, you know, it was, although it is written in Hebrew, if you translate it, the God said after the creation of the heaven and the earth, the God said, "Let there be light." There was light. You know that. And in Hindu philosophy also it says Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. It is from the old Upanishad. So you can say the light was an important thing. And if you consider the modern theory of the origin of the universe, light was the important. So that is the parallelism in religion and the modern science. You should imagine these religions were created years and years before the invention of the Big Bang. The Big Bang was proposed only in the last century, but the religion was there quite a century ago. So they thought at that time light is an important thing in the history of the origin of the universe and the God. Now I come to the another point. Now the modern age is based on two great theories which started in the beginning of the 20th century. One is the Einstein's general theory of relativity and the quantum mechanics, as I said. And the general theory of the theory of relativity, through theory of relativity, we can explain many of the heavenly celestial bodies, movement of the celestial bodies, that is billions and billions of distance away from us. And with the atomic quantum mechanics, we explain, or with atomic theory, we explain small distances in nanometers or micrometers. So quantum mechanics is based on highly sophisticated mathematical equations. Even the greatest quantum mechanics, Feynman has said that to the students that you are not going to understand it. Even though you study it, it's a difficult subject for the physicists to understand it. Physically, you cannot explain many of the things, but mathematically they are correct. When you do some experiments, you come across the result according to the calculation. So then you believe in that theory. So this is thing. Mathematics is is a thing which the scientists cannot, the mathematical theory of quantum mechanics is the thing which scientists don't properly understand the physical meanings, but they give good results in explaining many of the experimental things. So similar was the case of the Rishis. They also see in their meditations many things, but common man cannot see them. This is the thing.
Yeah.
So when you go into the atomic structure, the best structure at the beginning was given by Niels Bohr. He says atom consists of nucleus and electrons revolving around it. And they assumed that the postulate was that electrons take a preferred orbit. So when we talk why they are taking a preferred orbit, is there any reason for that? That reason we cannot say why it is preferred. So you can explain by mathematically because of these things, but we don't know why it is taking. So why it is. So these are questions which we cannot. What is in between these two or among these orbits? Is it empty vacuum or shunyata, what we call in Sanskrit, so nothingness. So now we come across that there is nothing. When you go into the nucleus of the atoms and in the subatomic particles, you will see what is said in religious belief, the Eastern mysticism, that there is shunyata everywhere. You just go in search of fundamental particles which contain the nucleus, the protons, and all those things, then you will see that they are all consisting of waves. You cannot see anything. They are all waves. That is why people say they Schrodinger and Heisenberg and their followers created a universe based on superimposed inseparable waves of probability amplitudes. There is nothing. There is, when you go inside of the atoms or subatomic particles, there is emptiness, you will say. At the atomic and subatomic level, it consists of fuzzy wave-like objects. And what we see now as matter is only a mithya. As Adi Shankara said, that Brahmam Satyam Jagat Mithya. What we see, what we can say that Brahman is the Satyam and what we see is Mithya. Even the Copenhagen description of quantum mechanics say that by the time or by the act of seeing an object, its wave nature is gone. So when you look at them at the matter, so the wave nature is gone. Otherwise, it is all waves. There is nothing. There is emptiness. There is vacuum. So this is the concept of physics as well as religion. So I find that I believe that there is something supernatural which controls our universe. And the latest theory in physics or physical sciences is the entanglement. There's a theory called entanglement. Entanglement means in the for the layman's language, we can say that when there is an electron in New Delhi and another electron in New York, they can communicate each other. That is called the entanglement. So that means we are all in a worldwide web and we are all connected. So we come to the same Vedic principle, Tattvamasi.
Yeah.
Then it is you and it is me. So everything is all connected. The supernatural energy is you are the supernatural, I am the super. So everything is connected. So I feel that there is a lot of parallelism in modern science and earlier thoughts in religion. So this is my concept. Maybe wrong, maybe I don't know what my way of thinking is like that. So as I said, the light was at the universe, at the beginning of the universe, there was light. That is the modern concept of Big Bang also. The radiation was ever there. So this is the concept in religion also. The light was the genesis of the origin of the universe. So this is my concept of the parallelism in modern science and religious thoughts.
This is good to know from a physicist and a scientist perspective, because being in a meditation, I do meditation and I hear the words Tattvamasi and everyone is one, light is source of energy, source of life. So this is wonderful to hear from a scientist, like, okay, even I believe that there is some power, like it creates a matter of faith, right? It's create a matter of trust. And that is wonderful to share with our viewers your thoughts on this. That is really nice. Yeah, thank you. I've covered all my questions on my list. It is wonderful to have a session with you. The advices, the tips that you have given to our viewers are really wonderful and helpful for many of the upcoming youngsters. Thank you for being on this show.
Thank you, Monica, for inviting me for this session. I thank you very much. And Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Thank you.